Welcome to Big Brothers Big Sisters of New York City's Sidewalks of New York Awards Dinner, celebrating our igniting potential and honoring Cathy Engelbert. Verizon, accepted by Magda Yazari. And Gerald Hassel. Featuring Alicia Guevara. With a special tribute to Edward L. Gardner and the bigs and littles from across our programs. And now, here's your host, critically acclaimed journalist and Emmy Award winner, Soledad O'Brien.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to this virtually reimagined Big Brothers Big Sisters Sidewalks of New York Awards Dinner. Special thanks to our honorees, WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert, Verizon and retired Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of BNY Mellon, Gerald Hassel, for their participation this evening. So this year's celebration is different for both the apparent reason that we're not together in person at the Hilton, feasting on steaming hot chicken pot pie, but also because tonight's virtual celebration allowed us to bring together more people than ever before to celebrate the power of mentoring. We are thrilled to welcome people attending this event for both the first time and the 42nd time. Tonight, we're going to see what potential ignited looks like through the stories and the narratives of bigs and littles. We're going to hear from longtime trustees as well as our CEO, Alicia Guevara. We're also going to hear about the urgent and important work of mentoring. We will celebrate our amazing honorees, recognizing them for their commitment to New York City's next generation of leaders, and pay tribute to the legacy of Edward L. Gardner, Chairman Emeritus in Memoriam. In a time of physical distancing and lots of uncertainty, the relationships between matches connect generations of New Yorkers, reminding us that even in our most challenging and darkest times, the future is actually bright. And looking at the littles who are served by their big brothers and big sisters of New York City, I'm reminded of the resilience, the grit, and the spirit of young people. We are a city that's divided by race and socioeconomic status and class, and this is why mentoring matters. It builds connections that increase access, but also influences advocacy and real change. And it's why mentoring is absolutely essential, why it has not, cannot, and will not stop. Potential is too precious, and the movement for social justice is far too urgent. So let's take a look at how Big Brothers Big Sisters of New York City is meeting the moment by putting young people first. So incredibly inspiring. There are so many young people out there waiting to be connected to a caring adult mentor who is invested in celebrating them. And and supporting them in achieving their goals. And luckily, that's why we are all here tonight. I cannot wait to share more about BBBS of New York City with you. But first, I want to address the question that will soon be on everybody's mind: how can I help? If at any point tonight's program inspires you to support our efforts, and it better, you can take out your phone and text your pledge to 646-859-2227. A generous pledge of $7,500 provides academic counseling and workshops to support 5 first-generation college students to succeed in their freshman year. $5,000 covers the full cost of screening and intake for 20 bigs, supporting child safety and ensuring that all of our young people are matched with caring, consistent adult role models. $3,500 supports the cost of 1 big and 1 little match for 1 year. $1,000 provides a college book scholarship to a little for 1 year, ensuring that they receive the necessary resources to succeed that aren't usually covered by financial aid. $500 provides training to 20 mentors to be inclusive and supportive allies of LGBTQ+ youth in our programs. And these are just examples of where your money can go. No amount is too small. Also, no amount's too big. Once again, text your pledge to 646-859-2227 and be part of the reason that New York City youth succeed. Your generosity ensures that Big Brothers, Big Sisters of New York City remains a pillar in the community, just as it has been for the last 117 years. Throughout this evening, you can also spread the word about Big Brothers, Big Sisters, great work, and also the incredible littles that you meet by posting on social media. Make sure you use the hashtag BBBS NYC Sidewalks. And now, let's hear more about BBBS of New York City's mission directly from the people who champion it.
I'm Jonathan Brand.
I'm Lucy Lopez.
I'm Brianni Manley.
My name is Aurelie Calpeño.
And I'm Erin Scanlon, and I've served on the Big Brothers Big Sisters Board of Trustees for 16 years. I'm extremely proud to be a trustee as well as a former Big Sister. I know firsthand the power that mentoring has to impact 2 lives, both the little and the bigs.
I've been involved with Big Brothers Big Sisters of New York City for 10 years, and I am a big through the McKinsey Workplace Program. I've mentored 6 young women, and each of them inspires me to ensure that mentoring never stops.
I'm an associate director for Big Brothers Big Sisters of New York City, and I've been with the organization for over 5 years. I work to support the Big Little relationship as they navigate their mentoring journey together, and I also cultivate different partnerships to provide a variety of experiences for the pair.
I've worked at BBBS of NYC for over 4 years. I'm currently an associate director where I'm proud to support match relationships as they develop, grow, and reach important milestones.
It's been 18 years since I joined the Board of Trustees. In that time, I've seen the organization rise to the occasion in service of our city's youth countless times.
Big Brothers Big Sisters is guided by our true north: put youth first.
And to that end, we have established programs to meet the diverse interests and identities of young people across New York City.
Our College and Career Success Program, which was founded to ensure our littles make it all the way through college to a great career, offers college and career support as a little enters their first semester of college.
The Workplace Mentoring Program introduces students to the world of business through on-site, one-to-one mentoring by employees of the city's leading corporations.
Our Big Pride initiative has increased the number of LGBTQ+ youth, matching youth of all gender identities and sexual orientations with supportive and affirming role models.
Since 35% of our littles come from immigrant families, we developed the New American Program, focused on celebrating their identities, offering bilingual programming, and prioritizing culturally competent support.
And we think the results speak for themselves. Of our 2,500 littles across all 5 boroughs, 93% of our littles who graduate high school attend college.
90% of our college-enrolled littles are on track to graduate with an average GPA of nearly 3.0.
And of those, nearly 75% are the first in their families to pursue higher education.
With the support Big Brothers Big Sisters of New York City provides, New York City's youth can achieve anything. And no one better understands the importance of support than our first honoree. I'm so excited to turn it over to Big Sister Catherine and Little Sister Alyssa, who will present the Trailblazer Award to my good friend, Cathy Engelbert.
My name is Catherine Hernandez, but I go by Kat, and I currently work as a project manager on our technology risk management team at Deloitte.
Hi, my name is Alyssa. I'm from the Bronx, born and raised. I'm in the 11th grade.
The reason I selected to become a mentor, we get to meet our littles when they're a sophomore and get to see them all the way through high school graduation when they get ready to go off to college.
Some things that I have learned from my big is to always go at my goals straightforward.
What impresses me most is her outlook of just her goals.
Right now, some goals that I have is by next year, when I turn 18, to have my EMT license so that I could become an EMT. So I have to train for that and then go off to college and take psychology as a major and then go to med school to become a physician assistant in sports medicine.
My little in 3 words. Alyssa is bold, courageous, and outspoken.
I would describe Kat as intelligent, kind, and outstanding.
So Alyssa, you have some questions you wanted to be able to ask Cathy.
Why is women empowerment important to you?
This is a great question. I dedicated a lot to women's empowerment, and because it really makes a difference. So that's why it's important to me. In fact, I took this career shift because of a desire to see women rise faster, see women and women of color rise, and also to pay it forward a little bit, because somebody took me under their wing and sponsored me to become the first female CEO in the history of Deloitte. And then I became the first commissioner of the WNBA. So somebody paid it forward for me. And so I think that's another important thing, is to pay it forward.
Do you value the factor of women mentoring women?
I'm a huge fan of your mentorship be who you feel comfortable with. I've had both. I think earlier in my career, they were mostly men because it was mostly male dominated. But later in my career, I had women sponsors. When I became the CEO, I had the CEO of one of the biggest companies in America, who was a female, reach out to me and do a little mentoring. And she's helped me enormously.
Thank you so much. I learned a lot.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, Cathy. Thank you.
Keep in touch, guys. Keep up the great mentoring work. Thank you.
Throughout her career, Cathy has advocated and advanced inclusion, ensuring that top companies center and celebrate women.
Prior to stepping into her role as commissioner of the WNBA, Cathy served as a CEO of Deloitte and championed a 16-week family leave policy,
promoting wellness and recognizing the unique role that women often play as both primary caregivers and professionals. She's dedicated her career to breaking barriers and paying it forward, creating pathways for others to follow in her footsteps. She embodies the spirit of innovation, progress, and igniting potential.
We are absolutely thrilled to present Cathy Engelbert with the Big Brother, Big Sister of NYC Trailblazer Award.
Congratulations, Cathy.
I'm honored to be the recipient of the Big Brothers Big Sisters 2021 Trailblazer Award. I've met with my big little match, Kat and Alyssa, a dynamic duo who are each focused on blazing their own trails as women, and they presented me with this award. This award represents the importance of commitment to community, especially concerning the lives of underrepresented children and their families. It also represents the importance of pioneering pathways to career success by committing to a consistent practice of diversity, equity, and inclusion, both professionally and personally. As a former NCAA basketball player, many of the skills I now rely on as a leader took root on the basketball court. Teamwork, integrity, resilience are just some of the traits I've carried to my professional game. And now as commissioner of the WNBA, I understand the work required to create a culture of equality and equity. The WNBA is dedicated to improving the landscape for women's sports and valuation, and to put in the hard work to develop new paths and strategies that we may not have seen before to get there. I sit on the shoulders of the WNBA players and staff who have blazed the trail for 25 years before me. The WNBA is a league that has succeeded in the face of adversity, is made up of 144 unique trailblazers, and I'm inspired by them. Mothers, entrepreneurs, artists, activists, and more. And although I'm honored to receive this Trailblazer Award, I see myself as the trail guide responsible for creating a more equitable and inclusive world and support others to blaze their own trails. So behind every great athlete is a masterful coach that inspires the athlete to evolve into the strongest performer they can. I am looking forward to continuing my work with Big Brothers Big Sisters and using the power of mentorship and advocacy to grow the next generation of leaders. Again, thank you to Big Brothers Big Sisters for honoring me with this award. I am grateful to be able to use this as fuel and hope to inspire others to join me in blazing the trail for the next generation.
In the next few minutes, we're going to hear from Big Brother Big Sisters of New York City CEO Alicia Guevara, all about her part in building the next generation of leaders. Meet the BBBS of New York City's Youth Council, and we're going to learn how they are shaping the future of the organization and acting as change makers in their communities. We're going to pay tribute to Edward L. Gardner. Ed was the heart and soul of the Sidewalks of New York Awards dinner, and we're going to recognize the impact that he had in the 50-plus years that he served Big Brothers Big Sisters of New York City. And of course, we will present our remaining awards to this year's incredible recipients who epitomize leadership and diversity and equity and inclusion. Before we get there, we'd like to thank everyone who has worked so tirelessly to make this event possible, and the early contributors who we can always rely on to support the empowerment of New York City's young people to achieve their goals. So a big thank you to our Chairman's Circle, leadership and benefactor sponsors, the Board of Trustees for your tireless efforts to cultivate paths to greater success for young people all across New York City. With a special thank you to our dinner chair, John Bram, and our event chair, Tawana Tibbs, for once again supporting the Sidewalks event. To BBBS of New York City's Youth, the Development and Match Support staff who foster and strengthen the match relationships, the affinity groups who work tirelessly to recruit incredible mentors in diverse communities throughout the 5 boroughs of New York to ensure that our littles see themselves reflected in their bigs, the companies and the organizations that partner with us in the workplace mentoring program to offer support as high school students plan for their futures. Everyone else, of course, who made tonight possible. And lastly, we want to thank all of the audience members out there who've been texting in the pledges throughout our program. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Every dollar that's donated tonight goes directly toward fostering match relationships and creating more impactful programming for New York City's youth. If you haven't given yet, there is, of course, still time. Just take out your phone and text your pledge to 646-859-2227 to empower young people in New York City to rise above what can sometimes seem to be insurmountable circumstances. Now let's hear from the CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters of New York City, Alicia Guevara.
Thank you, Soledad, for that warm introduction and for your continued support and dedication to Big Brothers Big Sisters of New York City, and welcome everyone. My name is Alicia Guevara, and I'm the CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters of New York City. I hope you're as inspired as I am by the stories of our matches and the tremendous leadership of our honorees, as well as the deep-seated commitment of our Board of Trustees and the tireless efforts of our staff to build and support mentoring relationships that ignite the biggest possible futures for our littles, who will undoubtedly become our next generation of leaders. This past year has been characterized as unprecedented, and so we had to consider and reconsider the way we move through the world, which brought into focus the essential nature of our connection to one another. For many of us, our relationships and community sustained us at a time of uncertainty, of loss, and of discord, which is why on March 2020, I gave my team the clear directive that mentoring could not stop. We listened to our littles and we responded with academic coaching and digital devices, mental health supports, and even emergency funds for housing, food, and other basic needs. And our corporate partners also pivoted to resume our workplace mentoring program. Thousands of one-to-one mentor matches in our community-based program began to use Zoom and FaceTime and even TikTok to stay connected. And our community came to life. And the commitment of our bigs deepened even further, ensuring that our littles knew they were not alone. They were being seen and acknowledged, and their potential would never be put on pause. I am tremendously proud of the over 100,000 hours of mentoring that our bigs provided this year, and the focused efforts that our team made to keep child safety at the forefront. Big Brothers Big Sisters of New York City met the moment because mentoring is malleable. It transcends spaces and places. Mentorship offers a sense of safety and stability. We never lost sight of our North Star, and that is to put youth first. And this will continue to be the guiding light for Big Brothers Big Sisters of New York City now and always. The economic effect of COVID-19 impacted our organization significantly, and yet we've accomplished a great deal under these extraordinary circumstances. Still, I'm hopeful for the future, one that needs your support. And so as we dream, along with our littles, I'm focused on ensuring the future of Big Brothers Big Sisters of New York City, and your support is critically important in realizing our vision of a mentor for all youth across New York City. Looking forward, we have the opportunity to create a future that recognizes systemic inequities and actively works to address them. Mentoring has a key role to play as we close the network gap and build our littles' social capital. The connections between our matches create academic progress and social emotional growth, but they also expand our littles' understanding of all the possibilities available to them as young people growing up in this, the greatest city in the country. Mentoring is critical in realizing this vision, but as I often say to my team, we do not do this work alone. This vision for a more equitable, inclusive New York City that celebrates the diverse identities of our youth is made possible through partnerships that bring our work together. It's also made possible by the influence and the efforts of corporations committed to advancing diversity, equity, and inclusion. Our next honoree, Verizon, is a shining example of what it means to commit across all facets of the business. Their investment and participation in our workplace mentoring program directly impacts our littles by supporting them in planning for success following high school graduation. Verizon demonstrates an intentional focus on putting the full weight of their organization behind ensuring that everyone can achieve their full potential. Our work with Verizon is best captured through the relationships between our mentoring matches, matches like little Renzo and his big Randy, who you'll hear from in just a moment. And as you listen to their story, you will understand what Potential Ignited looks like and how truly impactful it is to connect generations of New Yorkers to ensure the future of our city. You'll hear from them about the reciprocity of mentoring and the opportunity for shared learning, shared power, and shared experiences that break down barriers to make way for the intrinsic gifts of our littles to shine. Your investment in Big Brothers Big Sisters of New York City makes the connection between our littles and their bigs a reality. This community of supporters is critical to bringing thousands of mentoring relationships to life. The future of our city depends on your support, and I thank you for your commitment to igniting potential.
Hi, my name is Randy Sims. I'm currently a senior account strategist with Verizon Media, and I've been with Verizon Media for 3 years.
My name is Renzo, and I live in Queens. I am 17 years of age, and I'm currently a sophomore.
For this young man to come into my life and I come into his life, we have to look at each other to support each other, and how do we uplift each other. So I think that's the primary focus of what I've taken from Big Brothers Big Sisters.
It's like having an older brother, like stand back behind you, guide you, and then set you on the right path. To me, Randy, in 3 words, is admirable, encouraging, and concise.
Witty, intelligent, and passionate. All great characteristics that a young man holds.
The program gets us into the mindset of like thinking about the future and planning our next steps. My favorite part of the program would be being in big groups because we get to collaborate with our mentors, with other littles.
I'm Verizon's Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer. I grew up in Brooklyn and went to school in Queens. Hey, Renzo, what are your career ambitions?
I wanted to be a police officer.
There are great police officers out there helping to keep communities safe every day.
I say go for it. I think we need more officers like you one day.
I can see it, Renzo. Can you see it, Randy?
I hear it and I see it.
Bam, we're there with you.
Versatile fist pump, there you go. In terms of like the lessons in the past, year and a half with everything that's happened in our country, and obviously everything that's still occurring with injustices and hate. Can you share with Renzo and I, what are some of the things that you've learned on the personal level, but also how that has translated to your role as Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer at Verizon?
What I learn and relearn is that you have to seek justice always, everywhere that you are. For me at work, I've been very fortunate to have the opportunity to work in diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's kind of just staying very aware of the injustices that seem to just move from perhaps one community to another. We have to just remain conscious of where it exists and committed to being part of the solution.
What does diversity look like from a corporate level?
And so diversity could be diversity as it relates to gender identity as defined by that person. Diversity has to do with age. Diversity has to do with ethnicity and race. People with disabilities. We want that type of diversity to exist across Verizon. We think that to have a lot of different perspectives will make us better at Verizon.
I'm proud to work for a company like Verizon, where we have leaders who are truly focused on building a culture where everyone can thrive.
In her role, Magda is a change agent, inspiration and example of inclusive leadership. She consistently moves the needle at Verizon, ensuring that employees, customers, shareholders, and society as a whole continue to do the work of building a more equitable world.
On the whole, Verizon is deeply committed to igniting potential. Through long-term engagement in our workplace mentoring program and the participation of senior leaders on our board of trustees, Verizon consistently invests in the next generation of leaders in our city and prioritizes fostering an inclusive environment for their employees and customers.
Verizon believes that celebrating all dimensions of diversity is a key to their success.
We are thrilled to present the inaugural BBBS of NYC Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Award to Verizon. Congratulations.
I'm honored to accept this award, the inaugural Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Award from Big Brothers Big Sisters of New York City. First and foremost, on behalf of Verizon, thank you for this incredible recognition. I had the opportunity to meet Renzo, who is part of Big Brothers Big Sisters of New York City, and his big, Randy, an employee at Verizon. I was so taken by Renzo's maturity and how open he was in sharing his story. You could tell that Randy is playing a vital role as a mentor, coach, and friend too. There's nothing more profound than inspiring young people to reach higher and go further to capture their dreams. It's why we at Verizon are so proud to support this incredible organization. You are changing lives and making sure our youth have the support they need to thrive. And their ideas will come to life because you're the spark that ignited their passion, the way Randy is a spark for Renzo. And when I met with them together, I saw that Renzo also lit something up inside of Randy. It was mutual and it was beautiful. Big Brothers Big Sisters takes me back to my childhood. As a young girl in Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn, I faced my share of challenges. My mother became a widow at the age of 38 with 3 children, and she believed that education was a great equalizer. Thanks to her dedication and a network of mentors, I was able to rise up and live out my God-given purpose. People invested their time in helping me succeed so that I could find my path forward. And I've since dedicated my life and career to doing my best to do the same for others. That's why I'm grateful to work for Verizon, a company that steps up and steps forward to help society prosper. At Verizon, we're at the forefront of an industry that has kept communities connected during the greatest challenges of our time. And our networks will be instrumental in helping our communities recover and move forward. These moments of connectivity were made possible by Verizon's networks that are powered by the best technology and the best people, our 130,000 V-Teamers. And what enables us to deliver on our purpose at speed and scale is that we're all different and embrace diversity as a superpower to move the world forward for everyone. From supporting students through Verizon Innovative Learning to championing the presence of women and people of color across the broader technology sector, we remain steadfast in our dedication to building a more equitable world where everyone can participate to their full potential. Again, thank you for this tremendous honor. We are proud to support Big Brothers, Big Sisters of New York City and inspire children to dream bigger and bolder and accomplish more than they ever imagined was possible. Because there's nothing more powerful than a child who believes they can be anything.
Hello, my name is Jenna Kim. I'm 15 years old.
My name is Andy Platelpa. I'm a junior at St. John's University.
Hello, everyone. I'm Asmar Perez. I'm 18 years old.
Hi, my name is Keishan Zhang. I am currently a sophomore at Fordham University.
Hi, my name is Janique Daniel.
Hello, my name is Lillian. I'm a sophomore at Hunter College.
Academically, I would say it really helped me a lot. Right now, I'm part of College Advisory Council, and because of Big Brother, Big Sister, that's how I got into it.
Here at Big Brothers, Big Sisters of New York City, I am a peer support network leader.
It's definitely helped sharpen my focus on my future, and that's really valuable to me. The Youth Council at the College and Career Success Program is basically a congregation of us littles, and we basically weigh in on several policies with Big Brothers, Big Sisters of New York City. One of those policies include the gender match policy.
We discuss anything and everything to make BBBS a safer and more welcoming place for all littles and bigs.
I really want to make sure that generational wealth starts with me.
One of my career goals is to focus in the private wealth management sector.
I want to be ready and able to at least have a full job offer by the time I leave college while having my own business.
I saw myself in a hospital working as a nurse, and also probably free time I want to travel the world and get to know other places.
I feel like I would definitely want to work somewhere where I can talk to people and help people out and really just be there, even if it's just to listen or just to help in some way.
I would definitely want to become a big, because given how much my big has helped me, I definitely believe in the power of mentorship. And I feel like mentors can really help guide, influence, and leave a great impact on the mentee's life.
Would I ever become a big? The answer to this is yes, right? I do want to give back to someone in the future the same exact skills or different skills that I was given at such a young age.
I want to be that someone for somebody else, and I want to be able to help them out like I was helped.
I'm so delighted we're here to talk about Ed tonight and what he meant to us. He was one of the most important people in my life.
Ed was the heart and soul of Big Brothers, Big Sisters of New York. I met Ed Gardner first at the Sherry Netherlands in what I think is his favorite bar. where he was super generous in welcoming me to the board.
I first met Ed when he recruited me for the board. My father was typically the person who was asked to be on boards. I'm John May, not Peter May. And he said, I know who you are and we want you.
I first met Ed on the National Big Brothers Big Sisters Board of Directors.
I joined the board in 2005. So that was my first year meeting Ed. But as I observed, it was clear that Ed was the man. When he spoke, everyone listened. And it was really clear that he was Sidewalks.
Ed was a key player in Big Brothers Big Sisters of New York City.
It was actually Kerry Roselle that introduced us back in the 80s, and our relationship took off from there.
Ed loved Big Brothers Big Sisters of New York City, and he was so encouraging of everybody involved.
It's hard to come up with just 3 words. Ed was passionate. Everything Big Brothers Big Sisters, he lived it.
The first word that comes to mind is generous.
A fiercely loyal person.
Committed servant leader.
Loving, meaningful, and relentless.
He rallied the troops in some of the most difficult times, and we all learned from Ed watching him in action.
Ed's leadership is going to be missed. He was an extraordinary fundraiser. He was an extraordinary booster, promoter, marketer for Big Brothers Big Sisters.
As much as Ed loved Big Brothers Big Sisters, he was devoted, and he loved his family. Arlen, his wife, his kids, his grandkids. There was no question in his mind or in anyone else's mind of who was first in his life, and that was his family. And that meant a lot to me, and I know it meant a lot to others.
He was a mentor in how I could be and should want to be a great steward of the mission of Big Brothers Big Sisters.
He gathered smart people around him and exhorted them to do everything they could possibly do to make the organization better.
I know the leadership of the organization is working very hard to carry on the spirit of what Ed felt and what Ed did for Big Brothers and Big Sisters of New York City. He was one great, great guy.
The only way and the best way to honor him as we move forward, making sure that we are meeting the needs of the littles that we serve.
Continue to make sure that Big Brothers Big Sisters is front of mind for the most important philanthropic leaders of New York.
We talk about whatever we do to make sure it has a positive impact. And I think about that in the context of Ed all the time. And that's why we should all be passionate about organizations like Big Brothers Big Sisters that are making such a difference in our communities.
Help to ensure that his vision for future-proofing Big Brothers Big Sisters remain intact.
Send a sizable check to Big Brothers Big Sisters in memory of Ed Gardner.
He was a really good man. He was my friend, my partner, my mentor, my champion, my advocate. He was my big brother and I was his little sister, is how I look at it. And I feel that my life is so much better because I knew Ed Gardner.
He was well-rounded. He was a friend who I love dearly. I still have letters that he always ended them with, admiringly yours.
Ed was such an inspiration to all of us at Big Brothers Big Sisters. I'm sure he'd be proud to know that a Sidewalks Award has been named in his honor, and that his dear friend, Gerald Hassel, is the inaugural recipient. So now it's my pleasure to hand it over to Big Sister Tina and Little Sister Carrie to present this award to Gerald.
My name is Tina. I live in Brooklyn, New York. Currently, I'm a program manager at Tableau Software, which is part of Salesforce.
My name is Carrie, and I live in Brooklyn, New York. I'm a sophomore.
I wanted to be a big because of the impact mentoring has had on my own life and wanting to impact someone else's life in a positive way.
Something that I really admire about Tina is that I could really go to her about anything to see her perspective on whatever the matter may be.
If I could describe Carrie in 3 words, I would say that she is kind, she's brave, and she's empathetic. She has one of the biggest hearts of anyone that I know.
If I could describe my big in 3 words, it would be kind, supportive, and just overall amazing.
To me, igniting potential means believing in and investing in our youth, who are our future.
For someone that wants to join Big Brothers Big Sisters, I'd say just do it. Having a big there to help you and guide you is so important in a child's life.
Carrie and I will always be in touch, and we will always care for each other no matter what chapter of life we're in. First of all, I just wanted to say congratulations on the award. I'm sure you're a busy man, so thank you for this time and taking the time to speak with us.
I'm not as busy as I used to be, so so it's very nice to be able to, get some time with you guys.
Do you have any advice for high school students?
The most obvious one is pursue what you're passionate about. Really work hard at trying to achieve whatever your goal is. Pursue it with passion and dedication, and don't give up.
I'd love to hear about formative mentors. Anyone that stands out to you?
I had a couple of professors that were very helpful and instrumental. And then in the business career, I was very fortunate to have 2 or 3, lifetime mentors that guided me through my career and helped me. And I've been very blessed with lots of mentors along the way.
I want to ask about Ed because I'm curious to hear a little bit about your relationship with him and what this award means to you.
Ed was one of those folks that, would always call on you and could you please help? And you could never say no to him. And Ed just would always find a way to reach out to you personally. And he did this with everyone and sort of hit a button that resonated with you about where you could help or what you could do. And Ed became, a mentor to me and also a dear personal friend. Yeah, he was quite a guy, that's for sure.
Thank you so much, Gerald. This is so lovely.
Thank you. I really appreciate what you're doing, and I'm delighted with your match and how it's progressing. And do stay in touch with each other. It's so meaningful.
It was really nice to meet you, Gerald.
Yeah, it's really nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you guys.
Being a leader means caring about others and finding opportunities to use your own platform to support the people around you. These qualities are ones that our next honoree really has exemplified.
Gerald Hassel has been an incredible champion for young people. He has maintained a decades-long commitment to BBBS of NYC, championing the workplace mentoring program at BNY Mellon and demonstrating a strong personal and professional investment in building pathways for youth in NYC.
As the inaugural recipient of the Edward L. Gardner Leadership Award, Gerald truly exemplifies Ed's legacy, spirit, and commitment to Big Brothers Big Sisters of New York City.
It is our privilege to present this award to Gerald Hassel. Congratulations.
Well, thank you, Tina and Carrie, for that very kind and generous introduction. It was great meeting you guys and hearing your story, and the fact that you've been together and matched for over 7 years now is absolutely extraordinary. And it certainly speaks to the development of your relationship and how impactful Big Brothers Big Sisters has been to you all. And I'm just delighted to be able to share the stage or the Zoom camera with you guys. So it's just been terrific. Ed was an extraordinary person who led the way for this organization for more than 4 decades, maybe 5. He certainly helped bring me into Big Brothers Big Sisters in the early 1980s. And as I've said to many of my friends and colleagues, he never let me go. And I mean that in the most positive way. I was delighted to be able to join the board. And it was interesting because it was a very, very small organization then. It had fallen on some hard times, and Ed was working really hard to try to recruit other board members who could support and bring more energy to the organization. And I started out originally as being treasurer for a period of time. I was fortunate to be president for 2 or 3 years and help lead the organization. And it was just so rewarding that I could never thank Ed enough for bringing me on board and continuing to engage me with the organization. It was an organization that he is absolutely passionate about, and his enthusiasm was infectious to all of us. And I suspect he recruited many others, more than just me, to this organization. And all of us were touched by Ed in some way, somehow. As I like to say, he was lovingly relentless in his pursuit of making this organization successful. But more importantly, he was relentless in making sure that Big Brothers Big Sisters reach extended to as many youth and young adults as humanly possible, and to make sure that our vision as an organization was being fulfilled. And that vision is helping all youth achieve their full potential. You know, mentoring and providing support for families now and for students and our youth is more important than ever. These are incredibly challenging times, chaotic, confusing to many, many people, between the pandemic and social unrest and the inequities that exist in our country and around the world. Trying to sort through it all without a mentor, without a guide person, is really, really more difficult than ever. All the more reason and need for us to support organizations like Big Brothers Big Sisters, who provide that outreach, who provide that support, who provide that mentoring to guide our youth through these challenging times. And it's all the more reason why all of us should continue to support Big Brothers Big Sisters. It's a proven, absolutely proven organization that leads our youth to better outcomes. And seeing Carrie and Tina, working together, they've helped show us the way. Ed was also a mentor and a friend of mine, and I miss him terribly. So I'm very honored to receive this award that's dedicated to his name and his legacy. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much again, everyone, for joining us for this reimagined version of the Sidewalks of New York event. Remember, you still have time to give to this amazing organization, and you can still text your pledges to 646-859-2227 and help connect the current generation to the next generation of leaders. On behalf of the entire team here at Big Brothers Big Sisters of New York City, thank you for your support, and we will see you again in person next year.